Hey everybody, it's me, Asinellus, and welcome back to r/ChoosingBeggars, an amazing subreddit where people want something either for free or for virtually nothing. Here's a quick preview of what it's like. I really want my eyebrows microbladed. Y'all wanna set me up a GoFundMe? Disclaimer, I ain't playing. Not only does this person not want to pay to get their eyebrows microbladed, but also does not want to set up a GoFundMe and wants someone else to do it. Classic choosing beggar. And then guys, if you like stuff like this, then make sure to quickly subscribe before we go on with the rest of the stories, because I've got plenty of videos just like this. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Alright, this looks like a good story. How a choosing beggar busted herself. This happened several years ago when an acquaintance liked to pull ridiculous rap on others. Eventually, she got busted. The group I hung out with would meet regularly at a restaurant. Choosing Beggar used to be part of the group until she stopped paying dues, so she no longer received meeting notices. However, she got around that by calling the restaurant until she learned when we made dinner reservations in the restaurant's meeting room. The first time she showed up, we couldn't really object to her being there because it's a public restaurant. After she ordered the most expensive meal on the menu, she excused herself, saying she had an appointment. We thought she paid for her meal on her way out. At the end of our meeting, as we were settling our group tab, we discovered that Choosing Beggars stiffed us. We were forced to pay her for meal that night after she was long gone. We were irritated, to say the least. The next time we had dinner reservations at this restaurant, we arranged to have separate orders instead of a group tab. Lo and behold, Choosing Beggar shows up again, orders the most expensive meal on the menu. When she was informed there were separate checks instead of a group tab, she had the most sour expression on her face. Too bad. When she finished eating, she told us she would be back in a few and she needed to answer nature's call. The few stretched out to where we started worrying that she might have taken ill. It has happened to me. A friend and I go to check and discover that the restroom is empty. I asked the restaurant staffperson if she had seen Choosing Beggar, and I described what she was wearing. The staffperson informed us that she saw Choosing Beggar leave. This witch had pulled a dine and dash. Once again, we were stuck with her expensive tab. This time, we were livid. The third time she showed up, we were prepared. She did her usual of showing up uninvited, ordering the most expensive meal again, and then attempted to leave again after she finished eating. This time, we blocked the door. We told her that she was going nowhere until she coughed up the money for what she ate. The excuses she tried to hand us were stupid. She's entitled because she's a founding member. Nope, pay up. But she didn't bring any money. Too bad we're not paying for her again. She started literally begging and got turned down flat. I had already paid my tab and was getting ready to head on home when Choosing Beggar got in my face, begging me to feel sorry for her, etc. She tells me that if I pay her for me, she'll pay me back later. Yeah, right. I pointed out to her that she knew she was coming to a restaurant that charges for their meals. She knew that each member pays for their own meals. She has no excuse for showing up with an empty wallet for the third time in a row, expecting us to always pay her way. I am not paying since she made no effort to reimburse the group for her previous instances of dine and dash. I called her a liar and a thief to her face. She's panicking and asking what is she going to do as she has no money. I told her to throw herself on the mercy of the restaurant and hope they don't call the cops for her for theft of service and food. I walked out while she continued to stand there and panic. I don't know how the restaurant dealt with her. Choosing Beggar never showed her face again after that. First of all, how crafty do you have to be to find out when someone else has reserved a booking? Why would you even go into all that effort? But then she comes in, gets a free meal, and leaves. That's a pretty Choosing Beggar sort of thing to do, and these guys, they confronted her. They didn't let her out. They did the right thing, and this woman got what she deserved. This showed up on my Instagram Explore. As you all know, I'm a small growing business. I need all my friends and true supporters to support my business by simply sending me $2. $2 isn't that much to support a friend, right? Let's see if just a handful of you really do support a friend's dream, goals, and business. My goal is $500. Thanks in advance to all that support me. What gets me about this post is it just seems so generic, like it was just copy and pasted. And if you're trying to get $500 from just $2, like, gifts, donations, I don't know what to call them, that's 250 people. You've either got a lot of friends, or you're posting this just to the public. And, yeah, I'm not sure how well that'll go. Choosing Beggar drops her bone for the chance at a bigger one. Every year, Halloween Express sets up a tent in a local parking lot, and my wife decided that we were going to check it out. After spending a few minutes looking at decorations, I decided I was done and told her I'm heading back to the car. While I was sitting there, our choosing beggar of the story knocked on my window. She proceeds to tell me this sob story about how she's from out of town and she only needs a few bucks to get gas so she can take her kids home, yada yada yada. Normally, I ignore these people, not because I'm heartless, but when 10 people a week give you exact same story, you have to add 2 and 2 together. This day, however, it was starting to pour down rain, and I could tell she was soaked already and decided to say, screw it. I pulled out my wallet and gave her 2 to 3 singles that I had, but made the mistake of holding the wallet in just the right way so she could see what I had remaining. She begins screaming at me that I'm a selfish butthole, and that she needs the money more than me for her sick grandmother. I thought she said it was to get her kids home, and I agreed. I asked her for the singles back as I started pulling out 2 20s. You could almost see the dollar signs in her eyes, and she quickly handed back the money I'd already given her. Idiot. As soon as I had it, I put the bills back into my wallet and told her to F off and beg from someone else. By this point, I can see my wife at the register, so I rolled up the window and drove off to the front flap to get her. I can be a nice guy, I swear. All while this lady is screaming that I stole from her and that she'd call the cops. As I drove away, I smiled nicely and gave her the bird. Title is based on the dog and it's a reflection by the way. Yep, love the dog metaphor up here and so... This guy played this choosing beggar because there's nothing more classic than the choosing beggar getting a bit of money and then being like, no, I want more. You've got 20s in your wallet. You should give me those. And this guy, he full plays this woman. That was a good one. And, also, to all the you choosing beggars out there, keep your stories consistent. Otherwise, you might get played the same way. This one's quick and to the point. Hi, I'm this person. $15? Nope. It was probably garbage anyway, which... 0 to 100 in less than a second. Hi, can I get it for 15? The answer's no, and you just straight away just insult the other person. That's exactly the way to do it. Old lady steals a college guy's seat and forces him out of the bus. A little bit of backstory, I'm currently working in a small college town where I also got my medical degree. There are many med students in this college and Fridays are known as exam days. We cram 3 or sometimes 4 exams in one Friday, leaving everyone sleep deprived, exhausted, and most times unbelievably stressed and depressed. Most students are from the north, so the buses are usually full on Fridays when everyone goes home for the weekend after the exams. Sometimes you have to buy your tickets a few days before since the tickets sell out quite quickly, plus it's a 5-hour ride. This happened back when I was a student. And, like my classmates, I was going home after a couple of very stressful exams. The last buses are at 5 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. I managed to buy a ticket for the 5 p.m. bus. I got on the bus, took out my MP3 so I could finally listen to some music and hopefully get some sleep. A few seats across from me, an old woman took her seat, but then she took off her shoes and put her feet on the seat. I found it odd, since the bus was getting full and soon the person whose seat was next to her would want to sit down. This was our choosing beggar, aka the old hag. Sure enough, a guy arrived and stared confusingly at the woman with her feet on his seat. Their conversation went like this. Excuse me, ma'am, this is my seat. Could you please move your feet? She stared at him as if he had just spit on her. No! What? I'm a very ill person. I need to put my feet here so I can rest. But that's my seat. I don't care. I'm not moving my feet. At this time, the bus was already full, and everyone was listening to OH's incessant screams as she ordered the poor guy to leave her alone. Eventually, the bus driver came to see what was going on. The student explained the situation, and the old hag yelled at the driver that she was not moving. The driver: "Mom, did you buy an extra ticket?" "I did not." "Then you'll have to move your feet and let this boy take his seat, or pay for the extra seat you're occupying." The old hag went ballistic. "I'm a sick person. I'm in pain because of my knees and my back. Why doesn't anyone care about me? Don't you see I need to rest? And you're asking me to pay for 2 seats? Can't you see I'm a poor old woman?" The driver looked around nervously and tried to find another empty seat for the student to sit on, but the bus was completely full. At this time, everyone was on edge. Every time someone tried to intervene and convince the old hag to give the student back his seat, she would yell and go on a rant on how selfish young people were, and no one wanted to help a sick old woman like her. The driver again: "Mom, this boy has nowhere else to sit, and I can't drive the bus until everyone is seated." "I don't care! I'm not moving my feet, and that's the end of it." Meanwhile, the 5:30 bus arrives, and their driver was surprised to see our bus was still there. Half an hour later, as the rest of the passengers got on the other bus, their driver came over to see what was going on. Another half hour went by, we were still there, with the old hag refusing to move her feet from the seat. Now 2 buses were late. At this point, we were all hoping someone would call security or someone from the terminal to either force the hag to move or take her out of the bus for taking 2 seats when she had only paid for 1, and taking someone else's seat. Unfortunately, the drivers didn't have much of backbone. The second driver asked where the student was going, and since he was getting out in one of the other buses stops and there was a vacant seat on their bus, it was decided that the poor guy would get his bags and go on the second bus. As we finally left the terminal, the old hag was grinning victoriously and started to rant again on how bad her back pain was, how her doctor was useless, and how none of her kids looked after her. Med students are trained on empathy, but there was no training that could make me or my colleagues feel sorry for this butthole. As she continued to look around and complain about everything and everyone in her life, we, just like synchronized dancers, put on our headphones and proceeded to ignore her for the rest of the trip. Thank God the other student managed to get a seat on the other bus. Well, I can see why this lady's kids don't care about her, because if she treats everyone that way, well, no one's gonna want to treat her well, and it's not like anyone would have just grabbed an old woman and taken her off the bus. So I guess this was the best course of action. Just give the student on the just give the student who wanted the place a seat on the other bus and get on with it. I guess there's not much else we can do. 1 star for not making an app 3. The top critical review from a Google user: "Worst game ever. Please make this game fully free with no in-app purchases." Of course, someone should spend their time and money, possibly months, of full-time work to develop an app and then make it completely free and with no in-app purchases. That's just the logical thing to do, isn't it? 3 isn't good enough. Sounds like a good story to me. So earlier today, I was in Starbucks waiting for the barista to make my drink when CB walks in with her 8-year-old son. He looked 8 at least. She orders a coffee and is waiting as well. One of the employees was just cleaning up behind the counter and found a pumpkin, I think cake. It was in a bag and uneaten, so he offered it to CB's son for free. After eating close to half of it, he went and said something to his mum, and they walked up to the counter. Let's call the mum CB, her son EB for entitled brat, and the barista B. "My son was given this cake and it doesn't taste good. Can we get a cake pop?" "That will be $1.50, or whatever they charge." "Oh, I'm not paying for it. We just want to exchange the cake for a cake pop." "Mommy, I want a cake pop." "Mom, we gave it to you for free. We can't exchange it. Sorry." "But it tasted bad." "You gave my son a bad cake, so compensate for it. It would be the least you could do." "Like I said, I'm sorry, but I'd get in trouble. I gave it to you for free." She proceeded to complain further and then leave with her coffee. People these days. If someone gave me a cake at Starbucks for free, I would take it and run, and not give it back to anyone, and just take it. Just take it, and don't argue. Right, this one sounds a bit, creepy and a bit over the top, so let's have a read. CB calls me out for not delivering a table, proceeds to Facebook stalk me and my family to prove to get discount. A few weeks ago, I put an ad online selling a red oak table with 5 chairs. Put it up for $80 on the condition it would be picked up. I get the usual lowball offers, which now I don't entertain. One woman said she would take it for $80 and that she will come the day after. I said okay, gave her my address, phone number and email, and took down the ad as it is considered sold. She messaged me shortly after, asking me if I can discount $10 for the gas of her buddy's moving truck. I kinda wanted it gone and the ad was down, so I agreed to it. Jump to the next day, no word from her. I replied to her email and no answer. I figured she flaked, so I waited another day before putting the ad back up. About an hour after I do, she messages me telling me we had a deal and that she still wants it. I told her she can still come out, but I'm not going to take the ad and I'll entertain other offers. She said that it isn't very Christian for me, that because I caused her and her cats to stress, don't know why she brought up the cats, but I should discount it and deliver it. I said, sorry, no way. Because A, the deal is you pick it up, and B, I don't even have a van to do it. C, it's already being discounted. About 3 hours later, she messages me and tells me she found me on Facebook and saw one of my relatives works for a car rental company, so I should contact him to get a van and deliver it right away. Otherwise, there will be consequences to my immoral and evil business practices. I let her know that me and that relative aren't that close and also that I didn't appreciate her looking me up. Told her I have decided to keep the table, but I'd rather use it as kindling to warm my evil soul than sell it to her. She simply replied with a message saying that the Better Business Bureau has been contacted. I didn't bother replying after that because I don't want my non-existent furniture store to be reported. Rightio, we seem to have hit a crazy cat lady. Her cats were upset. She was upset. Sorry guys, some of these are just so weird. It makes no sense to me how these people can think this way. Alright everyone, and I want to say that this is all we have time for today. I know, you all want to hear more stories, but I am trying to get some more videos up. At the moment, I'm trying to do about 2 videos every week, which, arguably isn't much, but also more than plenty. So if you like what you see, make sure to subscribe to the channel for plenty more Reddit stories. I do Pro Revenge, Choosing Beggars, Entitled Parents, whatnot. And if you've got another subreddit you want me to do, then make sure to tell me in the comments down below and subscribe to the channel so you know if I actually do them. But for now, as I said guys, this was it from me and I hope to see you all next time. Goodbye!